I'm at this temple. It's called Shuangling Temple, on the outskirts of Yiwu in Zhejiang province near Shanghai. It was actually quite far to get here. Like we had to drive through like 15 minutes of countryside, which, you know, I'm a bit worried about how I'm going to get a taxi in a second. But I'm here now. So let's have a look around, because apparently there's been a temple on this side for, well, I think 1,500 years or something like that. Wow. I mean, the weather's not great, but that kind of makes it more atmospheric, right? And I say, you know, like I said, a lot of these temples, they'll say there's been a temple on this site for 1,000 years or 1,500 years. And I think the reason why is because they're usually made of wood. So they would presumably burn down or need to be rebuilt. So you can't say that this was the original temple. I don't think that really happens with these structures. But the temple's been on this site for that long. And I guess it gets renewed every so often, because look, this paint, it all looks fairly recent. It's at the gift shop. Oh wow, look at this. I was expecting just a gift shop. You see a lot of people with these kind of things. I think they're made from like seeds, and people like to, they're kind of like fidget spinners. Well, that's how people use them, at least. It's quite nice. Like, if you opened a hotel here, these would be nice grounds for a hotel. And I've seen a few places where, you know, you see these buildings at the side, I think they're dormitories. And I've seen a few places where you can stay in the dormitories, but I have to imagine it's not that, you know, it's not like a resort. It's quite dark in here. Or maybe, you know, maybe this is the gate. Kind of looks like a gatehouse, right? And there's I can see in the distance, there's a waterfall over there. So these places are quite nice to walk around. And it's free. There's no tickets. Because sometimes you go to, I've been to a few temples in China, and sometimes you go and it's full of people. They're really busy, and you have to buy a ticket. It's a library. And so you have to buy a ticket in some places, and it's really busy, and it's not a relaxing experience. It's not cathartic at all. But then somewhere like this is nice. Is that real? Is that a peacock? A white peacock? gonna take a picture of that so I can ask Google later if this is a peacock or not. It's more atmospheric with the rain for sure. But the thing with a lot of these temples, they're quite commercialized. Like you have to buy incense, and the incense isn't cheap. And then they will have QR codes for you to make donations. There's all kinds of donations that people can give, I guess, for good luck and things like that. And I guess other religions do that too. And how else are you supposed to raise money for, to maintain a temple complex like this? But sometimes it does feel a bit commercial. This place, not so much, but you can tell that a lot of money's been invested in making this into the place it is.
这里可以休息。
斋饭 very good。
我刚吃完早饭，吃不下了，谢谢。So the monk, or one of the monks, says, welcome to China, and then he finds out I speak some Chinese, and he's like, you can come some lunch. They're going to lunch now. He says, do you want to come to lunch? I just finished breakfast at the hotel, and the food here is vegetarian, but it's a nice offer. Anyway, I'm waiting for my taxi to the next place, and since we're in the middle of the countryside, it's taking a few minutes. I'm now at this ancient town. It's called Fortan Guzhe. It's not far from the temple I was at just now. And sometimes you come to this kind of old street in China and it can be really like commercial. And this looks commercial, but it's empty. So let's have a look. Maybe it's because it's raining. It might also be because it's the first day back after the holiday. Everyone's at work. Well, most people are at work today. But like here, there's some parts of this that are a bit older. There's some parts that are old. Like some of the wooden beams. I think these are original, and then some parts are restored. So, just looking up at this building here. The building might be a bit older, but it's a Xinhua Juyuan, so it's like the new China Theater. And this says, I don't know if this is, they added this later, it's supposed to be the place where you buy your ticket. But you can see like the old communist, I don't know, the soldiers and the workers. And some of these, a lot of the shops in these ancient towns are like, they're similar. But one thing is these wooden storefronts. Very often they're original. So you'll see places where they have they have to number them and they have to take them out and put them back in the right order. I'll show you a bit later if I see one of these places doing this. Because you'll see when they're open, they have a pile of wooden planks next to the door. Here is covered in, I think they're like, used to see these adverts in the 1920s and the 1930s for cigarettes. Yeah, so that's what all these ladies are. I don't know why, but it was always ladies advertising cigarettes. You never get a picture of a fat man with a cigarette in his mouth. You always get the ladies in like the traditional dress, being the spokespeople. this is the end of the main street. Oh look. These are the I'll show you what I mean about them taking the planks. These are the planks that they use for the doors. And usually on one side they're numbered. So it could be the planks for this shop. Because I guess they're protected. I think I'm gonna walk through the streets that run parallel to this because they seem a lot older and less commercial. But let me walk outside first because I think I can see there's a bridge, like quite a Chinese, traditional-looking bridge, and I think I can see this from my hotel. Oh wow, that's a cool-looking tree. That looks like a. Is that real? Oh, okay. This one isn't real. This one is real. And I guess they built this to support it, to stop it from falling down. Maybe there'll be a plaque somewhere. Usually there's a plaque for these kind of trees. And they tell you how old they think this tree is. Let's see. 210 years old as a camphora tree. It's not as old as I thought it was, but 210 years old is, it's quite old. And look, there's two things you can see on this river. It's the bridge, which I can see from I think I can see this from my hotel. And then there's another bridge that looks like it's made of boats crossing the river there. You know, these buildings here and these alleys, these might be more interesting places. And sometimes you get to see some sometimes you'll see like not graffiti but like slogans from like 30, 40, 50 years ago. Okay, walk down here. So there's people living here, but this building looks a bit different from the others. I guess some of the rivers here, I've just walked off the main road. Some of the buildings are a bit, you know, too far gone. Like this one, I don't think you could salvage this. And there's some fruit in the trees. Let's see, what's this? Maybe the pomelos? It's kind of like a grapefruit kind of thing. Yeah, that's what I think I think they're pomelos. And there's some, I could see there's some in the courtyard there. Up ahead, there's some slogans on the wall. You can barely make them out anymore. But I assume they're communist era slogans. So maybe 40 or 50 years old. You can see someone's planted vegetables here. Be careful not to step on there. I feel like someone's still living in there. I can see, you know, people drying their shoes and things like that. So maybe it's not entirely abandoned. But I'll show you the slogans because I think they're interesting and they're disappearing. You know, you won't see them in most places in 10 or 20 years. Actually, this kind of house, you know, you see less and less. It's kind of mud housing, I guess you'd call it. But you see here, there's black characters. You can't really make them out. Like, you can make some out. This is like Jan, like the odd character you can make out, but you don't really get a sense of what it would have said. And there's some on this wall too. And this building is some, I don't know, some studio. I think this is abandoned now. Let me see. So, oh, this is the 大堂, 大会堂. This is like the village hall, and so they decided this year that it's move all the stuff out, and we're gonna abandon this because it's not safe. Maybe where they would have written some or hung some notices. I don't know if we can see inside. Let's see. Look at this factory. I guess they make these teddy bear heads. And then next to the factory is just these, well, some newer homes and some older homes. I think you can tell which homes are newer. And probably one of two things will happen to these buildings. Like they'll either be declared unfit for human habitation and they'll be torn down, or they'll be refurbished, like some of them have been. That's what that red sign is, I think. That these buildings are unsafe. And so if you're in the area, Fordham ancient town is worth a visit. Much quieter than some of the other ancient towns you could go to.